What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here we are with another reaction. In this one, we got 6 parts to multicultural. It's a multiculturalism debate. I know I reacted to a video recently that said multiculturalism has failed in the UK. Diversity has never been a strength, and so I'm intrigued to see these parts of this debate. You're gonna have people that are for multiculturalism and people that are against. Hear both sides and see the pros and cons. Before we dive in, if you guys happen to enjoy, please don't forget to subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you would like to support the channel further, all you gotta do is hit that join button to become a member and receive your exclusive benefits. Let's get to it.
State multiculturalism, where it has been tried in the United Kingdom, has served as a catalyst for racial tensions and caused very real harms for the people of all ethnicities.
Let me.
The motion before this House is that this House believes that multiculturalism has no future in the UK. To open the case for side proposition, we have Oliver Jones, Christchurch, elected member of Standing Committee.
I'd like to start by reiterating the thanks to the President. Mr. President, I would like to thank you for the honour of introducing the proposition at the first debate of term. And also and again, I really never thought I would have to say these words, bear in mind I campaign managed your opposition, but congratulations on what is genuinely an excellent term card. The logistics of a Hillary term, as I'm sure members are aware, are extremely challenging, and I look forward to continuing to work hard to make this a great term for all members. I believe that this House should believe that multiculturalism has no future in the United Kingdom. That is because, in my view, it has no present and no past. State multiculturalism, where it has been tried in the United Kingdom, has served as a catalyst for racial tensions and caused very real harms for the people of all ethnicities. Instead, we should acknowledge those values that unify us and push from a civil and integrationist approach, which I will outline in this speech. But firstly, the duty falls upon me to introduce the speakers for the opposition. Firstly, you will hear from Olivia Knight Cataliente, or as she is often referred to by us as Ollie KC, or my preferred name for the Director of Partnerships, Ollie King's Counsel. Ollie is a dear friend, born and raised in Spain, with an accent resembling, as you will hear very soon, quite closely to received pronunciation. One might suggest, as a number of her friends have to me, that this is a result of watching a bit too much Brideshead Revisited, something which may also explain her Instagram bio, which refers to herself as a bon vivant. To refute potential arguments I expect to come from the Director of Partnerships, I believe it be slander for anyone to allege that I cannot tolerate spicy foods. I'll have the House know that I ate an especially spicy spaghetti carbonara yesterday from the Gloucester Green Market. Secondly, you will hear from Lord Singh of Wimbledon. Lord Singh has a CV which union hacks with their CV fodder society rules could only dream of. He has been an advisor on race relations to the Home Office and served on the Commission for Race Equality, as well as serving as the director of the network of Sikh organisations, making him a prominent spokesperson for the Sikh community and on the matter of cultural relations. Finally, you will hear from Sir Robert Buckland, a very prominent member of some of the most recent Conservative cabinets. Serving as Solicitor General, most notably, his appointment attracted some media attention because of a minor breach of professional conduct on his record from the Bar Standards Board. I think that most people on the committee benches here could only hope that their disciplinary records could remain so clean. Mr. President, these are your guests, and they are most welcome. As I have already begun to outline, it is my contention that multiculturalism has no past and no present in the United Kingdom. At least in my lifetime, multiculturalism has never been state policy. and it certainly hasn't been the policy of its people. Multiculturalism can best be defined as the celebration of diversity through the maintenance of distinct identities and heritages. It's one of those nice, fluffy ideas that sounds good, but really looks rather different when you explore what it actually means. Multiculturalism entails, for example, religious accommodations, faith schools, the recognition of multiple languages, or even distinct legal frameworks for those of different heritages. Advocates of multiculturalism, including, I'm sure, some of the members opposite, will raise that these are all good things, and on the surface, I wouldn't disagree. But let's actually explore what these things mean. Take as an example distinct frameworks in law. Now, obviously, I'm not going to use alarmist rhetoric and slogans about Sharia law and Sharia courts. It's just untrue. There are no Sharia courts in the United Kingdom. Yet, Sharia councils do provide for mediation in a manner that is distinctive from UK law. Under the government of Theresa May, the Casey Review alleged that some Sharia councils supported extremist values, this is a quote, by the way, condoned wife beating, and ignored issues of marital rape and forced marriage. Some Sharia councils are well established and respected, including the Islamic Sharia Council of Great Britain, yet others operate almost entirely in the dark in back rooms with clerics that most Muslims regard as questionable. These problems aren't unique to the Islamic communities. The Jewish Beth Din have had similar issues. In a similar, go on.
So are you against the multiculturalism in the union?
Well, as the treasurer will, I believe, greatly enjoy in a later part of my speech, I'm a very big fan of the diversity we have in the Oxford Union and what it means for members. In a similar manner, continuing on, faith schools that exist outside of legal frameworks have been a hotbed of abuse and radicalization of vulnerable young people from minority ethnic communities. Both of these bodies exist outside of the UK's state policy. That is because these multicultural policies have never and are not state policy. At the level of the state, there is no multiculturalism. And this is a good thing. Laws proposed to solve these very problems.
Well, I guess what is like in a sense state multiculturalism that he's talking about? I guess I'm trying to understand. So state, when it's promoted by the state, it's not a good thing, but there are some things that he believes diversity is good in, but multiculturalism as a whole, is he saying, has not been good for the UK? I guess I'm struggling to see where he stayed, and it feels like almost in the grain sense of, yeah, it's bad, but like in certain cases it can be good. And so it's like, I don't know.
Such as the Arbitration and Mediation Services Equality Bill, supported by women's rights groups and other secular representation groups, were defeated by the very advocates of multiculturalism, who I'm sure would condemn both of the institutions I've just described. This brings me to my more central point. Okay. Now we know that multiculturalism is not the present. What should be its future? I propose that the current state policy, civic integrationism, puts forward a much more positive future than multiculturalism could ever provide. Civic integrationism holds that people are citizens in and of themselves, not members of distinctive cultural groups, and instead notes universal norms and a common civic identity that binds us all together. Human rights, women's rights, and, doesn't sound as good, but British values. I'm sure some of you went to school at the same time as me when British values was a required part of the curriculum. The laws like the bills I just mentioned should be passed in line with this to protect women and to protect vulnerable people from radical clerics and other problems that are faced by ethnic minority communities. Civic integrationism holds a positive outlook on identity. Accommodations are, of course, made within the framework of the norms and values we hold dear. Of course, buildings should have prayer spaces like we do here. This is a very good example of an accommodation that can be made within this framework. Due to the tireless advocacy of many Muslim women within the Oxford Union, there has been prayer spaces allowed. It's by the Gladstone, right? By Gladstone. And this is a very important example of the fact that civic integrationism allows for the very religious accommodations that we would accept to be an important part of our culture and our values.
Okay. I'm sorry, I have to look up exactly what civic integrationism means because I ain't gonna lie, I don't know. And I want to know what he's talking about when he's saying that it's a better option. A political and social policy model where migrants are required to learn the host country language and understand its culture and values, especially its political and legal systems, to be fully integrated. Um, That's what you gotta learn from like to become a citizen, right? You gotta like pass a test where you have to learn all these things, or is that not required to become a citizen? And I know like a lot of people aren't just citizens. Like there's a lot of visas, worker visas, student visas. There are people who are over illegally, so not everybody is going through the citizenship process. I guess where they have to learn certain things to pass this test. But okay, so okay. Let's keep it going.
But we should not and we cannot allow any erosion of the rights, the principles, the values, and the norms that are constantly under threat from advocates of multiculturalism. The final point which I wish to propose here is that the people of the United Kingdom do not hold multicultural beliefs. 4 in 10 people in the United Kingdom hold that multiculturalism has undermined British culture. 52% support a reduction in immigration with those surveyed noting largely cultural concerns, and 60% support the removal of any worship from schools. This paints a clear picture of a United Kingdom concerned about the damage caused by multiculturalism, a Britain divided, in fact, by multiculturalism. What we do agree on is tolerance, but tolerance includes, for advocates of multiculturalism, the tolerance of intolerant values. Multiculturalism proposes that we, members of the House, should tolerate the intolerable, like the examples we have spoken about today. I want to finish with a final example that I think elucidates my point perfectly and is actually quite personal to me. In Tower Hamlets, Luther Rathman was elected mayor and then subsequently convicted of electoral fraud. His campaign involved using religious pressure and the abuses and intimidation as recognized by the court that convicted him. It's created a very major culture shift in Tower Hamlets. A friend of mine was a council candidate there and faced homophobic abuse, knowing that it would be against the religious code of the local Bengali community to vote for a homosexual. Advocates of multiculturalism have no answer for how their tolerance of what they would purport to be all cultures leads to tolerance of all peoples. That's why, honourable members of the House, Mr. President, and esteemed guests, I believe that multiculturalism has no future in the United Kingdom. I believe that it has no present, no past, and the only way forward is to demand a better answer, one of tolerance to all people and respect for individuals above all else, regardless of their cultures, in a form of civic integrationism. I propose that this House believes multiculturalism has no future in the United Kingdom. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So some of the things I written down was so in certain cases he is a fan of diversity, but it's civic integrationism. I'm not mad at. I think if you come to another country, then I think you should learn the values of that country. You should learn the language of that country. And what else was in? Um, and understand the culture for sure, and definitely the political and legal systems. But yeah, it's like integration. Yeah, you should integrate yourselves, and I think the country should do a job of integrating people. and not maybe putting them all in one spot and just being like, that's them, forget about them. And no, like integrate everybody. And so yeah, I'm not mad at that at all. You should. I feel like if you go to another country, that doesn't mean you have to lose your entire identity, right? That doesn't mean you have to change your religion. That doesn't mean you have to. But you should learn what the culture of the country is. You should learn the language of that country. You should learn the values of that country. Uh, you are moving there to live there, and so I would agree with that. But at the same time, I believe, like he said in this framework, accommodations should be made, but I guess it's tough to see like where do you draw the line at accommodations? Where do you? It's tough to say who's going to be the person to draw that line and where is it, because once you start making accommodations, other people are going to start wanting accommodations for certain things, and it could get out of hand. And so that's why it's like being in the gray, where it's like, yeah, it's okay in some senses, and it's not okay. It's tough to be in the gray because you got to choose a side. You got to pick a side to stand on. But I like him because he sees that diversity can be a good thing. He sees that diversity can be a good thing. But he's saying right now multiculturalism is just promoting too much difference in people, which is promoting tension, which is right religion, language, values. People aren't being integrated basically, and certain values don't match up with British values. So tolerance of all people's values and cultures is kind of, he's saying that's undermines British culture. And so he's saying multiculturalism is the reason for division in Britain, and we should tolerate all people, but not all cultures and religions. Is kind of what I'm hearing. And so I would love to hear what you guys think on that. And I didn't get to write everything that he wrote, that he said down, so there's probably stuff that I missed out on. So far, I didn't think it was bad. I'm intrigued to hear the next person, and I think she is against the thing that multiculturalism um, doesn't benefit or should not be tolerated in the UK. So that's part one. Y'all give me y'all thoughts in the comment section. I'll